question again, please.
Is there what's your experience about sexual abuse cases against women? Do they report it, or is this still largely underreported? How is it handled from your perspective?
Okay, most times those sexual abuse cases are underrepresented because sometimes the victim would not want to be seen. She feels she's a victim and she will not want that publicity. And most times she will prefer, the stigmatization is really much. She will prefer to keep silent, and then the perpetrator, the guilty one, is out there in the public still walking around. For us really in OXFAM, we promote that victims speak out, go to the necessary partners, the CSOs that are working in these areas, and report your case. Of course, they give you the right direction to go. They help you file your case. They help you with medical services when you need them. You know, but majorly because of the stigmatization attached to this whole thing, the cases are underrepresented. But there are really a lot of cases going on, ranging from older women to adolescents and even to small children in the society. And sometimes people misinterpret this that because of the way they dress, because of the way... But when you look at it really, for a small child, the child dressed indecently. And for the old woman, did she dress indecently? The pregnant one that was raped, is she dressed indecently? So it's not about the dress code or whatever, but it's about, you know, people changing their morals and knowing if there is a law and is enforced, and you know that if you do this, the law will catch up with you. I bet you nobody will want to do that.
Anything we can do about stigmatization, because it's a real fear that a lot of women harbor.
Yes, we can do a lot if perpetrators are brought to book and punished accordingly. That gives the victim a kind of relief. Yes, I got justice after all. You know, so it wasn't her fault that she was raped, but she got her justice. And so our justice system, you know, will be strengthened to see that perpetrators of crimes against women, violence against women, get their due punishment. And more like it is like the acid baths we see in the universities and all that. The best way for a man to settle a score with a woman is to bath her with acid. And the perpetrator goes along. So when we have a system that brings people to book, I think victims will not shy away from speaking out.
So how do you handle cultural cases? Because, I mean, you know how people are attached to culture. So in terms of changing their perspective, their mindset or orientation about women, what kind of experience do you have with that one?
Sorry again, take the question.
In terms of culture and violence against women, do you hear people tell you, no, there's nothing that can be done about it, this is cultural here and you have to live with it? Have you heard any such case, and how do you approach it when you hear it?
I've not heard that, but you can't tell me you can equate culture with violence. No culture is violent. It's people themselves that are violent, individuals that are violent. But like I tell you, if there is a law that states if you do this kind of crime and you're caught, you're prosecuted, and you're brought to book, it has nothing to do with culture. No culture will encourage people to rape people. No culture will encourage people to kill people. It's like that. So I don't think you can equate culture with violence. It's just individuals in their own, I don't know how to call it, but it's individually expression of their personality.
All right, Adaobi, I mean, do you think women are having a hard time, or advocacy groups, are they having a hard time pushing these cases?
Yes, I'll say hard time, yeah, because one, the cultural orientation, the religious belief, there's no adequate law. The police is not helping matter. There are lots of issues abound. You see that one, people believe, oh, for example, in domestic settings, you hear the excuse that, well, when you're getting married, it's a gift. Your mom tells you as you're getting married that this is a pack of gifts. My dear, as you unwrap it, whatever you see, you take. So there's already this mindset that he's violent, I'll keep praying, it's my cross, I'll bear it. They don't want to speak out. Those who are speaking out, you see that when they speak out, nothing is done. A girl is raped and there's judgment of option of 50,000 naira or a year imprisonment. So where is the and this is after like 3-4 years. So they lose interest in the justice system. You talk about most of the major violence we have in Nigeria is usually domestic violence and rape. Domestic violence, yes, because people are not negotiating well. A young man in Nigeria is ready to get married. He has a house, he has a good job. The next thing is marriage. A young girl, she's approaching 30, she's finished school. The next thing is marriage. Nobody's talking about what church are you going to go after marriage? What are you going to wear? What are the things we're going to do after the marriage? Everybody just wants to get married. They get married, then the issues, then the negotiations come forward. These are things that ought to be done before then.
Is that not, well, is it a question of the personality or the persons involved? Because you say the women most often than not would rather play second fiddle.
Well, people think so. It's not about personality, it's about societal norms, it's about societal beliefs. You see, society puts so much pressure on people. They believe that these are how things ought to be. So you see women taking a lot of things and not speaking. And even when they speak, those that have spoken now, what has happened? That's what we're talking about, having adequate laws that have good punishments. And then you see that it becomes a deterrent to others.
But you know, this question of laws, it doesn't address the question of victimization afterwards. I mean, the fact that you have to live with, you know, people saying all sorts of things about whether or not you get good justice is inconsequential as to whether or not you'll be victimized after certain things have happened. Are we providing enough support for women who eventually get justice, or even women who are in the process of getting justice?
That's when we talk about orientation. That's why we talk about the implementation of those laws. If the laws are duly implemented, where somebody who has committed a crime is adequately punished, it becomes, I have spoken out as a woman, then I get justice. The next person looking at my case will see something to drive for. You see, these ladies, they are shelters. These days we have a lot of shelters for women who has been abused. The Lagos State runs one, a lot of other CSOs that have shelters. So there are actually these shelters where they can stay until it's resolved. There are medical services available now. People are talking about one-stop center, talking about rape crisis center, where you can come and get everything at once. So there are support systems coming up. It's just for us to have the adequate laws and the willingness to implement the laws. Because it's one thing to have the laws, another thing to make sure it's fully implemented, monitored, and changed if need be.
Okay, all right then, Chioma. So tell us, how are you commemorating today? Any special events? What goes on after this program? Okay, all right then, Chioma. So tell us.
Yes, a lot of events are happening. For us in Abuja here, OXFAM in Nigeria, we're having a round table today with other CSOs, and for the first time we're having financial institutions join forces with us to speak against violence against women. Because when you look at the theme of this year, you know, gender agenda gaining momentum, and a promise is a promise, end violence against women now. So we put together this forum with Speaker Corner Trust of Nigeria and Fidelity Bank. Everybody supporting us to have this event to speak, to further discuss the violence against women, and then to celebrate the second reading of the BAP bill that just got passed. And For our partners in the grassroots, because I remember somebody was asking in the room there, we're only doing it in the urban areas. We're not doing it only in the urban areas. We have partners working in the grassroots, in villages and communities. The same thing is being replicated in those areas. It's Women's Day, and we're going to celebrate women, the achievements, and then use the opportunity to advocate for more opportunities for women.
Yeah.
In Lagos here, for us, since last week, this week, we've been on the media, different radio stations, different television stations, and what we are trying to do is to create awareness about the issues, to talk about what is violence against women, where can you get help, where are the channels of access. So we are partnering with the media to see how we can make sure that everybody at every nook and cranny of Nigeria gets to hear about Women's Day and what it entails. Beyond that, we're also using the social media. I have a part of a network in Lagos which is called Working Group of 8 on Violence Against Women. Actually, about 8 different gender-focused CSOs working on violence against women in Lagos State. And what we are doing today is we are bombarding the social media, Facebook, Twitter, BB, what have you, with information on what is violence against women, what are the dangers, reasons why you should speak out, and where you can get help.
And it shouldn't be just about today.
Yes.
It's supposed to remain in our consciousness, isn't it? All right, and so that's why we have to let it go.